Hello there, orchestra. Welcome back. So today's lesson is number 324, dry bones, and we're going to be talking about upbeats. Now, I want you to take the word upbeats out of your head right now for this because this is not what I like to call them in orchestra or just in general for music because these are not actually upbeats. The book calls them upbeats and they might anywhere in the world call them upbeats, but that's not true in a general sense. These are called, like it says in parentheses at the top of your page, page 27, is pick up notes. They are pickup notes, okay? And pickup notes lead into the first full measure of a phrase. When pickup notes, not upbeats, are used to begin a piece, their combined rhythm value is often subtracted from the very last measure. So let's take a look at 324 in the very first note. You'll notice that we are in 4/4 time, but there's only one note at the very beginning, and we call that a pickup note. That one note that's by itself with a bar line to the right does not create 4 beats, so it is not counted as measure 1. Measure 1 is the first full measure of music, like you see following with that open D string and that down bow marking. So the first note, which is that low A, first finger on the G string, is an up bow because it's leading into a down bow, a strong beat of the main melody. Now, that pickup note was taken out from the very last measure. I want you all to look at the second line, the very last measure, and notice that we are in 4/4 time, but we only have a dotted half note, which gets only 3 beats. That means there's only 3 beats in this measure. So that last beat was subtracted from the end of that measure and placed at the very beginning. So when you guys are counting yourselves into playing the music, you're only going to count to 3. And you're going to play starting with the tip of your bow on the string and going up on beat 4 on that low A. So you count 1, 2, 3, and then you play the low A on beat 4, and then down for beat 1 of the first measure for that open D. Now, there's also a repeat sign at the very end. Notice that it says beat 4 is at the beginning. So when you play that dotted half note, you're going to play it like you normally would, and then it's a down bow open D string note, and at beat 4, you just play at the very beginning that open, that low finger, first finger A on the G string for that up bow or pickup note. Okay. So we use the word pickup notes a lot, by the way. Pickup notes are usually, like it says here, the last note of a measure that leads into another measure. So for example, another idea of a pickup note would be, if you look at the second last 2 measures, there is that last note of measure 7, that quarter note E. That could be considered a pickup note into measure 8. So sometimes I will say, play the pickup to measure 8. So you go find measure 8 and go back 1 beat to the previous measure, and that's the note I'm talking about, okay? But that's just an example, okay? So let's talk about the notes here and how to read it. So we start with the first finger G on for an A, low A. It's an up bow. Then we go to first measure, which is the open D twice, and then eighth notes D, D, D. So how would you play it going into it? You'd count with your tip of your bow already on the string, from the G string, first finger over down. You'll count 1, 2, 3. A, D, 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 D. So 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay. Then on measure 2, you have a rest on beat 1 with a retake for another down bow on F sharp, D half note. So you have A, D, 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 lift. F sharp, D. Okay. And that's a pretty standard rhythm with that 1, 2, 3, and 4 at the retake on beat 1 and back down. So measure 3 and 4, we have E, 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 lift, F sharp, D, A. Okay. So we have 2 eighth notes at the end rather than holding the D half note. Then we go to the next line, measure 5 and 6, D, 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 lift, F sharp, D, E. Then we're going to start that measure 7 on an up bow. F sharp, F sharp, F sharp, E, E, D. Beginning, A, D. Notice I went D, 2, 3, then low A from the first part of the music, the pickup note, the very first one, and then D. So here's an example of what it sounds like on the cello. It's going to sound the same for the violins and violas, but I'm just going to play it on the cello for this one. Now the tempo says moderato, so I'll play it first at this tempo, and then I'll slow it down for the next recording. Okay, here we go for the cello. All right, here it is on the cello at 104 beats per minute, a moderate tempo, starting with my tip of the bow on the G string on that low A. All right, so this is how it should be played, but of course you can play it at your own speed with the tempo that's slower. Don't play any faster though, because that's not moderato anymore. 1, 2, and 1, 2, 3. All right, so that was at a moderate tempo, moderato. Let's bring it down a bit to 60 beats per minute and really hear all the pitches and the rhythms specifically. All right, so again, this is the same thing that you would play for the violin viola. This is just played on the cello. The fingerings are a bit different, but the melody is exactly the same. So much, much slower tempo at a largo tempo, L-A-R-G-O. Largo means very slow. So let's go over it. Here we go. Start from the tip of your bow on the G string, first finger, and we're going to go up on beat 4. I'll count to 3. 1, 2, 3. D, 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 D. Retake and F sharp, D4. E, 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 E. Retake. F sharp, D, A, D, 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 D. Retake. F sharp, D, E, F sharp, F sharp, F sharp, E, and D, 2, 3. Repeat. A, D, 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 D. Retake. F sharp, D4, E, 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 E. Retake. F sharp, D, A, D, 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 D. Retake. F sharp, D, E, F sharp, F sharp, E, D. Okay, so just make sure that you play it at the tempo that you're comfortable at. Practice this first before you do a recording. Work on it. Play along with me. Pause it when you need to. Rewind it. Whatever it is that will help you play better to do your recording. And don't be afraid to ask questions in your recording so I can give you some feedback and help you out with anything that you might not be understanding right away. So good luck in recordings, and I can't wait to hear them. Have a good one. Bye.